Hello and welcome to another little episode of the Pumpkins and Melons series. So in this particular video, I will be making a tree farm! Woohoo! Okay, so you already see in my inventory I have a bunch of axes, and now I'm collecting the saplings that will be needed to actually create a tree farm. And I would like to fence it in, so I am grabbing a couple of utensils and such to get it all set. Then I realized I'm going to be chopping a bunch of trees, so I didn't really need it. So at this point, I now need to find a place to actually build my tree farm. So I'm sailing around, and it looks like this area across from my little island might be a nice place to start. So I think I'm going to settle down in this little meadow area, chop down some trees, and get a lovely tree farm started. Okay, so now it is time to assess the sort of boundaries that I plan on making for this tree farm. And I thought it would be nice to just add a fence around it so that there's a nice sort of marking around where the tree farm is going to be located. So I'm just making a bunch of little oak fences because I have a lot of oak stuff thanks to a ton of chopping. So I'm kind of just getting an idea of where I want to create the boundaries to be, or like how big of a space I want us to be. So at this point, I'm starting to build like the outside perimeter. And yes, that did bother me that I have a million like axes and I chose to break that one piece of fence with my hand. But whatever. At this point, I'm just laying down like where I want the outline of this perimeter to be. So as you see, it's not quite perfect. It's definitely like crashing into the land, and there's parts that are going over just empty water spots. So this is really just like a general outline location. With that being said, I still decided to chop this area of dirt down, but it's just so that the fence will all lay evenly on the ground for when I end up filling all of these holes with dirt so that the trees can grow. So right now, I didn't realize how many saplings fell while I was doing this all, so I'm going around and I'm collecting them all again. And this is where I realized, holy cow, I'm going to need a whole ton of different fences. So I'm now making a large amount to get that all sorted. So, which is good. We're getting, like, I created 12 more, which was definitely not enough, considering those 45 went so quickly. So at this point, I'm making some more, like making those planks, getting those sticks. Probably not the most efficient way to make a bunch of oak fences, but you know, at this point I have the supplies, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable. So this is the stage where I kind of decide, like, I want to build the edge of the tree farm kind of around the edge of this pond. But I will be filling the pond up because you can't plant trees in the water unless it's like fancy trees that I don't have. So at this point, I'm just using this as a boundary, just as like my little cutoff line, which seems like a pretty good idea. And I'm just following this down. We have this almost all entirely marked out. And this is when I realized that I still haven't chopped enough trees. And I have to chop this tree down really quick. Get that sorted. Break some of the leaves so that it all reaches. And again, one of the most unsatisfying parts of Minecraft is when you realize you just don't have enough of the supplies and you're so close. So I chopped down this other tree to get it out of the way and break some of the leaves so that the rest of them will despawn. And it will also give me a little bit of a better view about like what to do with the leftover fencing. So here I counted out that I needed 4 more pieces. So now I'm walking back the walk of shame back to the crafting table to make 3 more fences. At this point, I just chopped down that the little entrance one, so now I can actually get into the tree farm. And I'm making some more fences in a very painstaking way. Here we go. So now that we have the proper amount of fencing, I hope, we gotta check 1 second. But at this point, I counted it out, so I kind of expected this to work, and thank goodness it did. So now we have this whole area all cleared out, getting rid of some like of the extra leaves. And look at that, we have this whole space all almost cleared out. Again, don't want the leaves sticking around, considering we're going to be growing more trees, and we don't want the leaves to overlap or to lose any resources we can. So just destroying the leaves as they are now, making this area look all neat. And look at that! Everything's all fenced in. Very proud of that. Now this next step is going to require us to grab a whole bunch of dirt to fill in that giant area of lake that could grow trees. So now I'm going up to my storage area. We're gonna check out to see if I have any. Firstly, I need to eat because if you look, I no longer have the ability to sprint. And while I'm here, I might as well throw some of the wooden supplies I've gained back into the chest. Get those little hunger bars full. Filling up that health bar as well. And look at the land. Very cool. Anyway, going back into the chest to see where I could possibly have some dirt. And this is when I realized I only have 20 dirt in total that I can use for this project. So, checking all these other chests, I know fully well that there's no other dirt. So, I'm gonna make a quick stop to sleep. And I have a new mission to hunt down some more dirt. To get a better idea of how much dirt I really need, I went in and I am sort of filling in the amount of dirt that I have now. Just the little like 20 pieces that I have into the lake at this point, just to see like how much area that's gonna cover, which as expected is not a ton. So looking at it, that's pretty small. So now it is time to find more dirt. Now, with these 50 more dirt, let's see how much more land I can cover. Let's see if that's going to be enough. So it's making some pretty good progress, at least for now. Again, misclicks, we love them. But at this point, I'm kind of assessing that I'm definitely going to need more than just the 50 blocks that I collected. But we're still going to place them all down, see how much progress it made in total. Again, look at how fast the grass grows, by the way. Just like as a side note, I was very impressed. I was like looking at this and thinking, wow, that grew quick. But now we're on a mission to collect even more dirt. At this point, I have a full stack plus amounts of dirt, and I am fully sure that this is going to be enough to cover everything. So I'm starting out by filling up this little hole up in the front that you saw me go over in the beginning of this video. or like not the beginning, but like pretty early on. And I still have plenty of dirt to cover the rest of this whole area. And at this point I was thinking, like, if worse comes to worse, I can dig up this bottom layer and just like the little platform at this point that's all grass and just pull it up a level if worse comes to worse. But truly I had plenty of dirt to cover all of it. And I still had about 18 more in my inventory to do the back end. And this is when it got just like a little bit sticky, because I ran out like 8 blocks away from what I should have had. So this is when, again, the almost satisfying part of Minecraft is just a little less satisfying. So at this point I just am not caring enough about like the way that this looks, so I just go over to the coast and take like a nice few pieces of dirt. Like at this point I had 6, but I ended up grabbing 8 in total, and I ended up just running back to my base area and just like filling in the spots because we needed to. And there we go. Perfectly flat square of land. That's gonna be just the best spot for all of these trees to go. So at this point I have a nice amount of saplings in my inventory that I've collected, and I wanted it to look a little bit more like laid out in a random order, so I have a couple of little trees placed in, spaced out in different ways. See, watching this back, I think it would have looked a little bit nicer if I had lined them up a little bit more neatly and planned this out a little bit more, but you know, I still really like this. And I like having the fact that I can just, like, if I need a tree, I don't have to like find a sapling and wait for it to grow. At this point, having this little tree farm will allow me to have like a whole bunch of varieties of different logs to collect and build with. So right now I have some of like the dark oak, one savannah tree, a handful of different oak saplings, like so many oak saplings. I was not even remotely prepared. I had no idea. So I ended up making 2 rows of oak saplings, and we also have a line of birch. I know birch gets a lot of hate, but I actually think it's a pretty nice log to use in Minecraft. I just think it looks pretty. But this is the kind of like spontaneous lines. They are in like individual lines, but they're not spaced out evenly, and in retrospect I would have definitely changed that. I took a quick trip to grab a couple more savannah trees, and while that happened I had my first little natural growth of oak trees. So I grabbed 3 more savannah trees, or acacia trees, I think, however you pronounce it. And I did a couple of bone meal growths on this farm, so we got a little bit more variety. I grew a birch tree along with a couple more oak, and lastly one of these dark oak trees that are humongous, by the way. If you didn't see me already chopping them down. But look how cute this looks. I love it. And another one grew. We love that too. So there is some like overlap between the trees, but I think it looks really cute. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know this video was a little bit more unstructured, and it was more of I wanted a tree farm, so I built it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you so much for tuning in.